Welcome back to the ITIL series. In this session, we are going to learn about the ITIL practices. So what is a practice? A practice is a set of organizational resources designed for performing work or accomplishing an objective. Each ITIL practice supports multiple service value chain activities. Practices are made up of resources from the 4 dimensions of service management, which are organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, value streams and processes. The ITIL service value system includes 34 practices. Of these 34 practices, 14 are general management practices. General management practices are adopted and adapted for service management from business management. And 17 are service management practices. Service management practices have been developed in service management and IT service management. And there are the last 3, which are the technical management practices. Technical management practices originated in technology management and have been adapted for service management. The ITIL 4 foundation syllabus requires you to know the purpose of 15 ITIL practices. For some of these 15, you also need to know the key terms, and there are the 7 practices that need to be studied in depth. In this session, we will look at the 7 practices that are going to be studied in depth. The first practice is information security management. This is a general management practice. The purpose of the information security management practice is to protect the information needed by the organization to conduct its business. This includes understanding and managing risks to the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information, as well as other aspects of information security such as authentication and nonrepudiation. The second practice is relationship management. This is again a general management practice. The purpose of the relation management practice is to establish and nurture the links between the organization and its stakeholder at strategic and tactical levels. It includes the identification, analysis, monitoring, and continual improvement of relationships with and between the stakeholders. The third practice is the supplier management. The supplier management is again a general management practice. The purpose of this practice is to ensure that the organization's suppliers and their performances are managed appropriately to support the seamless provision of quality products and services. This includes creating closer, more collaborative relationships with key suppliers to uncover and realize new value and reduce the risk of failure. The fourth practice is IT asset management. IT asset management is a service management practice. The purpose of this practice is to plan and manage the full life cycle of all IT assets to help the organization maximize value, control cost, manage risk, support decision making about purchase, reuse, retirement and disposal of assets, meet regulatory and contractual requirements. An IT asset is any financially valuable component that can contribute to the delivery of an IT product or service. So what do we mean by an IT asset? An IT asset is any financially valuable component that can contribute to the delivery of an IT product or service. Monitoring and event management is again a service management practice, and the purpose of this practice is to systematically observe services and service components and record and report selected changes of state identified as events. This practice identifies and prioritizes infrastructure, services, business processes, and information security events and establishes the appropriate response to those events, including responding to conditions that could lead to potential faults or incidents. So what do we call as an event? An event is any change of state that has significance for the management of a service or other configuration item. Events are typically recognized through notifications created by an IT service, configuration item, or monitoring tool. The sixth management practice is release management practice. The purpose of this release management practice is to make new and change services and features available for use. A release. So what do we mean by a release? A release is a version of a service or other configuration item or a collection of configuration items that is made available for use. The seventh practice is called service configuration management. The purpose of this service management configuration practice is to ensure that accurate and reliable information about the configuration of services and the configuration items that support them is available when and wherever it's required. This includes information on how configuration items are configured and the relationships between them. So what do we mean by a configuration item? A configuration item is any component that needs to be managed in order to deliver an IT service. The last management practice that we are going to be looking at is deployment management. This is a technical management practice. The purpose of the deployment management practice is to move new or changed hardware, software, documentation, processes, or any other component to live environments. It may also be involved in deploying components to other environments for testing or staging.